Chicago, I'll show you the town. I love it. Bet your bottom dollar you lose the blues in Chicago. Chicago, the town that Billy Sunday couldn't shut down. On State Street, that great street, I just want to say they do things that they don't do on Broadway. Say, you'll have the time of your life. I saw a man, he danced with his wife in Chicago, Chicago, my hometown.
Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. We've got a big show for you tonight. As you may remember in our last show, we talked about fostering entrepreneurs and small businesses. And that led me to this show tonight on buy-sell agreements for people who are going into businesses to help them understand what they really need to know about being in partnerships with other people, whether it's your brother or whether it's your high school buddy or whoever it may be. It's important to know how to protect yourself in business. And tonight my guests are Joseph Ruth. He's an attorney and he's going to talk to us about legal challenges and so forth and educate us a little bit on how to go forth in preparing these contracts. And also my guest is Kevin Kimbrough from Transamerica Insurance. Thank you both for being on the program tonight.
Well, thank you for having us here tonight, William.
Well, you know, so many businesses are operating and they don't have any protection for either partner, and through buy-sell agreements they can protect themselves and protect their families as well. For the viewers listening, let's talk a little bit about what is a buy-sell agreement.
Well, in basic sense, a buy-sell agreement, if you and I are in a business together and something would happen to you, it lays out the groundwork for me to purchase your interest in that business and be able to keep the business going.
Oh, okay, that's really important because particularly if one of the partners has a spouse or something, there's a potential problem, as I understand, where if one of the owners pass, that the spouse of that particular owner could come in and claim, I guess, ownership or part ownership, and so it's just best to have it pre-orchestrated, planned in case of someone's death.
Well, if somebody dies and they have an interest, whether it be in a partnership or an LLC, and even some of the small corporations, that interest is personal property. Mm-hmm. And as personal property, upon their death, it passes to their heirs. So that value then has to be either paid off to those heirs, or the extreme circumstances have been that all of a sudden your partner's wife is now your partner, your partner's son is now your partner.
That could be good, it could not be so good.
Well, that's not who you got into business with.
Right.
So that's a determining factor in the buy-sell agreements, how you want that business to go forward. The other factor, and we go from another extreme, is that there's an interest that has to be paid or at least is owed to that partner who passed away. Mm-hmm. It can cause the business just to disintegrate.
Collapse. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because they didn't do any pre-planning as to what would happen in case of and so forth. So having a buy-sell agreement is a way to protect yourself. And where would you start with? Would you first start with going to an attorney then?
Well, in Ohio, it's very easy for an individual to start a business. They can start it on their own as a sole proprietorship. They can start, if there's two of them, as a partnership. Mm-hmm. If they want some of the limitations on liability, they can fill out the forms with the Secretary of State and start an LLC. That's the starting point, though. Because then from there, the rules of the road are governed by the statutes in Ohio.
Okay.
So the next step is in those, you create a partnership agreement or you create an operating agreement in the case of an LLC, so that you and your partner establish the rules. How are we going to run this business? What kind of authority do you have versus what I have? And that leads then to, well, at some point in time, you're going to want to either retire or something may happen to your partner. What do you do then? And so you incorporate those buy-sell agreements also into the operating agreement.
Okay, so you might say it's sort of like a prenuptial kind of agreement. Is that what you would say it is?
That's a good analogy. It sets up how we're going to distribute things, how we're going to do things down the road. And to use the analogy of a prenuptial agreement is probably pretty good, because that sets what assets are there, who's going to get what, who keeps what. And when you do the operating agreement and or the buy-sell agreement, because a buy-sell agreement can stand on its own, but that real power is where it's incorporated into an overall operating agreement that allows them to set the rules of the road, to say how we're going to do things, and if something happens, how we're going to take care of that when that happens.
So they would need to go to an attorney.
I would advise that.
Yeah. Instead of just doing something on their own, writing up something, they need to have it go to a legal person and get the legal wording and contract and so forth. That would be the best way to go, wouldn't it?
I would strongly urge somebody to go to seek counsel of their attorney, somebody that they trust, somebody that works in corporations and does that type of work. Because in today's world, yes, somebody can go out to the internet and download an operating agreement, download a buy-sell agreement, and I will tell you some of the jokes are that is the longevity of us attorneys, is because when somebody does that, they didn't think about something and it comes back to us.
So they may keep you in business for way past the years you want to be in business.
That's true.
So when we come back from a break, we're going to talk with Kevin Kimbrough from Transamerica Insurance, and we're going to be talking about how you can finance these buy-sell agreements. Stay with us. Hi, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. Before we went to break, we were talking about buy-sell agreements, and in this segment of the show, we're going to be talking about how you can finance buy-sell agreements, and here to tell us more about that is Kevin Kimbrough from Transamerica Insurance. So what would be a way to finance a buy-sell agreement?
There are several ways. Number one, if a business partnership has a lot of cash and or assets, they can use that and set that aside. But pretty much the most typical way is through the use of life insurance. Discounted dollars, as you will. Most buy-sell agreements are funded through life insurance. They usually either, depending on how many partners they have, they can either employ the cross-purchase concept, which, for example, if you have 3 partners, you would have a total of 6 life insurance policies. Or they can do the entity concept, which, again, going to my original example, if you have 3 partners, it would just be 3 life insurance contracts. Basically, what they would do is, upon death of one of the partners, they would set a designated amount, let's just say, for example, $250,000, and basically that would be paid tax-free to the surviving spouse of the deceased partner in an effort to buy out that part of the business. So that's typically the way it's done.
Okay, so you take the proceeds from the insurance, and the proceeds are paid directly to that partner.
To the partner's wife.
To the partner's wife.
Yes.
Okay, and that's
Spouse.
all written out in the buy-sell agreement.
That is a portion of the buy-sell agreement. That buy-sell agreement will discuss how we're going to value the business. And that is one of the items that is then passed along to the insurance company, the insurance representatives, so that the coverage doesn't fall short in many cases, and that they feel comfortable with how you're valuing this business and this policy that's going to cover things.
So you really have to put all the cards on the table when you're putting together this instrument, this contract, so that if some partners are coming in, for example, like with cash into the company, if another partner is coming into it with blood, sweat, equity, you know, so all of that has to be carefully worded in the agreement as to who's getting what.
Absolutely, and because you've got somebody that may, as you said, bring in cash, others that they don't have the cash, but they're going to put their heart and soul into the business, and it creates what we would call a capital account, what their contributions to the business are. And by utilizing both the operating agreement and the buy-sell agreement, you can establish that the person coming in, say with the cash, has a 60% ownership of the business, whereas the one with blood, sweat, and tears may have a 40% interest.
Okay, I got it.
And then when you roll up and say what's the value of the company and what that payout would be, you can use those percentages to ensure that you've got the right coverage for the individuals and the payouts to the heirs are taken care of.
So in the buy-sell agreement, can it be a deduction of the business? So if we're talking about Joe Doe's mechanic shop, then the cost of those policies, that would be a company expenditure then.
It can be, and I'll let Kevin discuss even more with that, because there's a couple of different ways to approach that piece.
Typically, as a general rule, the IRS says no. Okay, but there is a workaround. One of the workarounds are that from a deduction standpoint, businesses are allowed to deduct salaries. So if the, let's just say for a simple example, the premiums on each of the policies, say, were $2,000 a year. What the partners do is basically take income, okay, for $2,000. It's called a Section 162 bonus plan. They take income for that. Then they can now deduct that expenditure for the premiums because it's a salary. Instead of just paying a company check and writing a check for the premium in and by itself, which is not deductible.
But would that be a company expenditure, or would that who would be paying for that insurance premium?
Well, what it would be, since it's the partners are taking the extra premium, again, in my original example, the $2,000 for the premium, they're taking that as income.
Okay.
And since that's considered a salary or income,
that's a part of their income.
That is deductible.
Okay, got it.
And it's called a Section 162 bonus plan.
What are some of the other products that they could use? They could use term insurance. They could use like a whole life insurance. Tell us a little bit more about how the whole life insurance could be several folds in terms of buyout, as well as maybe a retirement plan for.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted product. Getting back to your original comment about the term insurance, I've actually employed both. It just depends on each and every situation. Nobody's plain vanilla. Every business has different wants, desires, and longevity. For example, a quick example, I've had a tool and die shop where the business owners were older, and they had only anticipated running it for anywhere from 8 to 10 years. After that, they were just going to sell it or let the business fade into oblivion, so to speak. In that particular case, maybe a term insurance, since the premiums are fairly low, might be more warranted than a conventional whole life. On the other hand, if you have some young business owners that plan on keeping the business for, say, 30 plus years, obviously a whole life product or a permanent type product may be more advantageous to them. The premium's locked in. And also we can employ what's called a universal life, where it has an increasing death benefit, where the death benefit goes up each and every year, and hopefully with that rationale, so does the value of their business. Hopefully as the business goes on, it flourishes, and basically if the death benefit goes up in a universal life, that hopefully would keep pace with the rising value of the business.
So they can accomplish several things with the whole life. They can pay off a partner dies, they can pay off that portion of the partnership, and they can, so it would have to be, it seems like what I'm getting is that the buy-sell agreements have to be tailored to the individuals in the picture, as well as to what investment they brought to the partnership, as well as the overall goals of the business and so forth. And I would imagine, Joe, that that would have to be assessed periodically then.
What you do, you're absolutely right. Every business, every entity is different. And when you look at how they should operate, how they should conduct themselves, what should be contained in the buy-sell agreement is going to be different from one business to another. You've got to look at also the type of business that they're in. But as they continue to grow as a business, similar to a child, I'll use that analogy. What you do for an infant, you know, and what you have to buy and what you have to take care of things and to make sure that everything's working well is different than when all of a sudden they become a 4 or 5 year old or a 10 or 12 year old. The business documents have to be able to grow and change as well.
With the situation.
With the situation and how that company and that business has evolved over time. So as you enter into an operating agreement, you enter into a buy-sell agreement, those are agreements, those are contracts between the parties. Those contracts can be modified, changed, amended as the business grows to meet the needs of that business and what those new needs are.
Great. There's more to come on the William Pace Show. Stay with us. Hi, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in. Before we went to break, we were talking about buy-sell agreements and how to fund them. And one of the important things to keep in mind in a buy-sell agreement, if you're using insurance to fund it or finance it, is a person's health.
That's correct.
And it's really important while the partners have good health that they get insurance, because health plays an important part in qualifying for insurance and getting the best rates for insurance.
That is correct. Just because you went through the blood, sweat, and tears of acquiring the business and getting it going and moving forward, I guess the drawback, if any, for the funding vehicle of life insurance, you do have to qualify from a health standpoint. There may be a situation where one or two partners are in great health and maybe the third partner is got questionable health, takes a lot of meds and maybe had a heart attack, stroke, cancer, whatever. And that could be a key ingredient or determination on being able to fund the buy-sell agreement through life insurance for all the partners.
But each partner would have an insurance policy for that particular partner on them. If there are three partners, and there would be three policies?
If they do the entity concept, if they do a cross-purchase concept, they own it. Each partner owns a policy on each other partner. So in three partners, that would be a total of 6 policies altogether.
I see. So they own one for themselves and on the other partners.
Well, the other two partners.
Two partners,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the key thing I'm getting is while they're young, maybe 20s, 30s, while their health is good
Yeah.
and young, that's the best time to purchase insurance to finance a buy-sell agreement.
It is, and typically you are right. The only drawback is none of us have a magic crystal ball. We don't know at what point in our life that we step across that line. When I say that line of insurability, and we may not be able to get insurance at all, or it may be, instead of a standard rate, it may be a rated policy where you pay extra premium for that particular program.
So the best thing to do is just get it while you can, while your health is good,
Yes.
and while you're young. Joe, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the buy-sell agreements and how important is it to have the buy-sell agreements tailored, custom-made, tailored fit to the business. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, each business is different. The partners, you and I are different people, and Kevin and I are different. But the businesses that are made up of these individuals, each business is different. They may participate in the tool and die industry. They may be a mechanic shop. They're all a little bit different, and what the risks that they actually may have are also different. In particular, when you look at the buy-sell agreement, that buy-sell agreement covers not only what happens if one of your partners dies, but say one of them becomes disenchanted with the business.
Oh, okay.
Or they may want to retire. It's been a wonderful success and they're heading towards retirement. You can start crafting and working towards, okay, how do we get you retired and get you paid out and take care of things? So those documents, as we said previously, are living documents. And they have to be tailored to the needs of the partners and to the business itself.
And you really want to have it in a contract. You really just don't want it to leave it to someone's handshake or their memory.
Well, absolutely. William, we're both a little bit over 29 now. And if you ask me what did I agree to 10 or 15 years ago, it may be colored by the experiences that we've had over the last 10, 15 years, and I may not remember it exactly the way it is.
Okay.
So by documenting it, you're sure of, everybody, as long as everybody's of sound mind, of the direction we're going, what we agreed to, it's there on the paper, and it was a good deal then, and we're able to really detail what was agreed to, not what I thought I remembered happened.
Or what you may want, how the
Yes.
alternative ending that you would want. Let's touch upon a little bit before we go about disability. So I guess the same would apply with disability too.
There are multiple ways that the buy-sell agreement comes into play, but it's all in a partner or partners are leaving the business.
I see.
And whether that's by one of them has passed away, they want to retire, or they may become disabled. Then we come to Kevin and we look at, okay, if we've got a disability, we're going to need to be able to purchase that, purchase this partner's interest. How do we do that?
So really, the buying out of a partner, the death of a partner, the disability of a partner, all of that needs to be fine-tuned, orchestrated, included in the buy-sell agreement.
Those are components that should be covered in there, that there is an agreement going forward how we're going to handle if
no
these
surprises.
things happen.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to thank Kevin Kimbrough from Transamerica Insurance, Joe Ruth for being here tonight. And if you have further questions about buy-sell agreements, call us at 937-270-9049. That's 937-270-9049. Gotta go. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye now.
That great street, I just want to say, they do things that they don't do on Broadway. Say, you'll have the time of your life. I saw a man, he danced with his wife in Chicago, my hometown.